It's not strange that the Lubavitcher Rebbe left Poland by miracle and was taken out of Poland by Hitler's own men, the Abwehr, the secret police, like the CIA. The Abwehr took the Lubavitcher Rebbe with his entourage out of Poland to Berlin, Berlin to Gothenburg in Sweden, and from there the Rebbe went to the United States, came to the United States. An amazing, amazing trek. And the Rebbe was the only one who had no collateral damage to anyone that was with him or around him when he was saved. Other Rebbes had miracles happening to them, but in the process there was collateral damage. Someone died. Other people suffered. When the Rebbe was taken out, no one died, nobody else suffered. And the reason for that is because of his extra care that anything he did, whether it be for his own benefit or for the benefit of his institutions, would not be at the expense of anyone else. And from here we can understand a controversy that has been raging. The people who are ill-meaning have accused the Rebbe of caring more about his books than about people. As I told you in the previous story, the Rebbe gave up $100,000 at the height of the Depression, something, the amount that's worth in the millions, but at the time it was staggering because no one had any money at all. And gave that up so as not to affect the keeping of Shabbos of another Jew. Certainly at the height of the Holocaust, or at the beginning of the Holocaust, the Rebbe would never put a value upon his personal possessions at the expense of a Jew. The Rebbe, while he asked for the return of his library, also was involved in an organization called PLEA Shvurim, redeeming of those who are captive, and worked diligently to get those whom he could out of Europe. He even sent shluchim. He sent Israel Zuber to Sweden to work on getting people out. And Zuber was successful with many hundreds, if not thousands of people. Very unknown what he did, but he got many hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, out of Poland through his contacts in the Swedish, in the consulates in Sweden. And the Rebbe made sure and tried everything he could to get people out. The fact that the Vat Hatzolah and the Rebbe were at odds was an unfortunate outcome of the leader of the Vat Hatzolah, who refused to assist Lubavitcher boys and refused to give them food while they were in hunger in Shanghai. And so the Rebbe had difficulty with this individual and therefore was not an active member of Vat Hatzolah, but the Rebbe was actively involved in saving all the Jews he could. But here is what I wish to tell those cynics. The Lubavitcher Rebbe established his library not as a place to gather books for this to be a great monument to his accomplishments. The Frierdiker Rebbe knew the value of true manuscripts and true sources. And the Rebbe gathered all kinds of informations about Jewish topics, even information written by heretics, because he wanted a library where an Orthodox or a traditional person, or even an objective student, could find information, true information regarding any subject of Judaism, and find out the truth, and find out the truth of our tradition. For the Rebbe also had amongst his manuscripts writings that would argue and negate the arguments of heretics regarding biblical history archaeology, all of those social sciences, the historians who want to, either intend to, or by accident, say things that are against the traditions of the Jewish people. The Rebbe worked very, very hard to reestablish the timelines of the Jewish history. And therefore the Rebbe was certain that by gathering the correct manuscripts and the correct authorships and having all of the relevant articles in one place, that there could be a place for a serious Jewish student to learn about Jewish topics from a traditional point of view and not be influenced by the universities. For the Rebbe saw what nobody else saw at that time. The universities are the source of heresy. Any Jewish boy that goes to a university and studies history, ancient history, even history prior to the destruction of the temple, will find the history books filled with information that negates the basic beliefs of the Jewish people. And therefore, anyone studying biblical criticism or history would be influenced by its professors to deny the truth or the possibility even of the Bible being true. And so the Rebbe, knowing this, gathered a large mass, a large body of information to negate these teachings. And he saw in this effort the method by which he could save the ideology of hundreds, if not thousands, of students who would ultimately be influenced by the Wellhausen school of biblical criticism and by modern Jewish historians like Gratz. The Rebbe wanted to save Jews, not just physically, but also ideologically. And this library was going to be the source of that saving. And it was necessary to save the Jewish soul every much as it was necessary to save the Jewish body. And that's the reason why, during World War II, the Rebbe petitioned the Department of State to save his library, which is a Jewish treasure, that was important for the sake of